Bye. Is bye.
Shibidoo wop.
Shabooby wow.
Shabooby wow.
Shabooby wow. Like, we had a cartoon, like, it'd start with that. Like, you know, they had the little, like, intros of animation studios where it's like, kabloom! Or fucking Frederator! But, like, at the front. Because I remember those on Nickelodeon
Wow.
being, like, yeah. Shabooby wow! Or, like, some shit like that. It'd be, like, a different singer every time. Like the Weeds intro.
Hi, I'm Paul.
Hi, I'm Paul. Oh, God. What else was there?
Wasn't there like a Billabong one?
Yes, there was also, you said Billabong, and I was like, there was that thing where they had bellies upside down, and they'd put fucking noses on them and shit. Or mouths, I can't remember. But it was like from that thing that also played the little clips with the alien and the caveman. Oh, God, what was it called?
Oh, shit.
It was something in Bob.
Yes.
You know what my favorite hole that me and Anna go down when we're really high is?
It was called Prometheus
And Bob! Because, like, me and Corey would be like, it'd be like, I'm Prometheus and you're Bob. He's like, you. Some Goldie Moly. Plus, our setup here, like, I'm able to look up things.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I can pull up the computer and be like, blah, 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 blah. Or, like, record part of a video.
We can both look up things. Like,
No, yeah, we can both. Yeah, this actually works as, like, a perfect podcasty room. Alexa, light off.
Okay.
Realized it was still on. This is going to be so nasty. I'm going to turn this way because I feel like in my current state, I might be like, ah! I just smelled it.
It might be a little strong.
Ah! Why does it smell like if butterscotch was a thing that could be alive and then died and got left in a room for a week? I have to keep this just so I can remember saying that. Why was that not terrible?
It's the vanilla cherry Coke.
It's still not terrible. I hate I
That's
hate
not
that I kind
terrible?
of like that. I hate that I kind of like that. Ladies and gentlemen, we've only been talking for 2 minutes, so if you survive through that, then I'm just going to go ahead and say, here's the start of our podcast. Back for Hole. I think that we called Holes several times last time. No specific reason. We won't elaborate on why I called it that. I called it that. I made all this. We might also have some podcasts coming up that only I am a part of, just because it's a little easier for me to sit here and do my thing. And sometimes my esteemed vegetable, Jacob Dyer, cannot make it because his wife is pregnant, and
Yeah.
also
That's actually a development.
he's
between the
pregnant.
first
And
one. It's a pretty big
He
development
moved real
between
slow.
podcasts.
even though we live like 15 minutes away, wow, that burns. Like,
Does it?
It's in the back, and
Still
it's like
going?
there's like a like those ornaments that do the swivel thing. You know what I'm talking about? Like the wiggle, where it's like someone spun out pottery in two different directions
Isn't
and
that how
pulled it.
feels?
Yeah, it's like if you took a side image of that was flat in 2D and then put it in my mouth and laid it flat. That's what it felt like, the course of the burning. So, today we're going to talk about retro game stuff, just in general things, like emulation, talking about flashcards and our old favorite games from older retro childhood stuff. So it's like nowadays, retro could be like PS2 and Dreamcast. But
Oh, that's
we're
shit.
talking about the N64, the Nintendo Entertainment System, and the SNES, and the Game Boy line of things, like Game Boy Color, the Genesis, and Sega's offerings, which I didn't have much of, so I can only speak for what I saw. But we have PS1 games as well, like that type of era. That's how far we'll go, because it's our childhood of games, not our young teenagehood and teenagehood. And also just our favorite old games in general. And then maybe we'll talk about a little bit of subject that Jacob brought up. The Tiger Electronics games that you
yeah.
got in everything. So, at 4.5 minutes in, welcome to Whole Childhood Games. So what consoles did you own as a kid?
So I didn't really own a lot because of my childhood, but I had a lot of friends that had a lot of cool things. So I played on the N64 the most, and GameCube, and then PlayStation 1 for a long time. It was PS1. And then PS2 for an equally amount of one.
That's too far
Oh
forward.
no, I did have an Xbox.
It's too far forward. Xbox, PlayStation 2. What are these things, brother? So as a kid, we were in the poor bracket. So our parents and our grandparents and stuff did what they could, and we still, I'd say, had really fun, formative childhoods. Like nothing so bad to complain about now in any real way. But I think the first console I ever played on that I remember, I think, was an NES, and my mom showed me video games. Like, she didn't end up being as into them as me, but definitely believes they are art and everything like that. But it was the first Super Mario Brothers, or I guess it's not technically the first Mario Brothers game, but on the NES, and she would play all the time, and she never got to the end, but she got to one of those later stages, like where the sky was black and you'd have the fucking Lakitu guy throwing down all of the spiky dudes, and like it was one of the ones you had to go really, really fast, to the like giant step blocks where you could jump on the turtle shell and get like infinite lives. And like it was so cool. My mom showed me like the first like glitch or cheat or whatever, and that was super cool and got me super into games, and played a lot of Tetris. I had an SNES, and like lucky enough to get a Super Scope because somebody like sold it cheap at the time that it came out, really, back in the early 90s. Well, Game Boy Genesis. Yeah, I got to do PlayStation 1 much later. Like, much later.
See, the weird thing about with me was, like, my mom was and is still super into video games. So, she introduced me to things like Baldur's Gate and the original Diablo and all of those. And she
The original Diablo still scares me. It gives me fucking nightmares. Just the atmosphere, man. Like, goddamn, the fact that they were still able to do that to me now. And I'm pretty much a baby when it comes to horror games. I am still started Resident Evil HD, the original, in October, or before October, I think. And now we're in December, and I'm maybe like a third of the game. And I'm enjoying it, but I'm very easily scared. So, I'm a baby.
I think my best memory with retro gaming consoles and all those old games was the fact that I had to go over to friends' houses to play them. So it was always like an exciting point. It was like, oh yeah, I get to go over there and play fucking Mario and shit, like, because I didn't get to do that at home. So yeah, that was nice.
I definitely feel like I had a lot of PC gaming when I was younger.
I did not.
Like there was always like uncles
I played
or my
pinball
dad or whatever, and they'd have like Diablo and Warcraft 2 and StarCraft, like other random like older games, and like the Sega Smash packs, which are basically what those Sega collections are now on PC. But it would be like they released a disc. I don't know how much they cost typically, but they had like maybe 6 or 7 games on them. And I remember the first game I ever beat was Shining Force, emulated off that disc. I would assume it was emulation. And it was the first RPG I ever finished. I only beat it once. And actually, I need to do that for the list. I want Anna to see it. It's the first game I ever beat. Second game I ever beat was Final Fantasy VII. And I'm going to take a pause and let Jake talk, because I can go on for like 3 hours talking about that bitch.
So, when it came to like PC games, it's going to sound real funny. I only played PC games in the extent that I played like the built-in games. Like I played a ton of pinball. I got really good at solitaire.
That pinball is incredible. You know what's really funny that people don't know, that I didn't know until like a year ago watching a fucking LGR video, is that that pinball game is actually part of a much bigger pinball game, and what is built into the game, into the computer, is just like a demo.
What the fuck?
But it's its own full-fledged thing. But there are like other boards and like other shit going on.
So yeah, I got that. What was that? Big Fish Games. Do you remember Big Fish Games?
Oh yeah, I think so.
Yeah, my grandmother, I was always spending a lot of time at her house, so I would just sit in her little office and play fucking mahjong. And
oh yeah, I love playing mahjong. I had no idea what I was doing, but it was essentially a match game.
Yeah, or those search and find games where you had to like find the objects in the image, and I loved those because like they had little stories that went with them.
I love those like kid point and click adventure games.
Yeah, those.
It's like, what can kids understand? Like pointing and clicking.
Oh, dude, and I also had I had this like it was like a computer program we had to get. It came on multiple discs. It was like Land Before Time, but it was like education.
Oh, I
themed.
know what you're talking about. And there was one where like they go in and out of like mazes, and there's a
Yeah.
maze game where if you take a wrong turn, there's a fucking sharp tooth, and it was so fucking terrifying in my face.
Yes.
And then there was like the storybook thing,
Yeah.
where you help Littlefoot go through the story.
Yeah, so that was fun. Oh, dude.
Oh, dude, those were so good. I gotta find that software.
And
I
then-
played it over and over and over again. Maybe that was the first game I beat.
I think that was probably one of my first experience with like computer games.
Dead air. Dead air.
We have cohesive thoughts, guys.
Emulation. So I'm for it. It's not perfect all the time. The fans obviously have more time on their hands to make fucking working shit than big companies because they've been doing it for like 20 plus years.
No, I'm a huge fan of emulators. I mean, I do get,
I get the gray area.
yeah.
Not with the emulators themselves, but with like the ROMs. But at the same time, a lot of these companies, like Nintendo, doesn't want to give you a better way to fucking access some of the shit.
Yeah.
Like, and they don't sell their older games like ever. It's like they're only used, so even that money's not going to Nintendo. So you can't like argue, well, you're taking money from Nintendo, not for like 20-year-old games that fucking you
That have
can't
been
buy
discontinued.
anywhere.
They've been discontinued.
And the only versions
so,
are used, so that money's not going back to the company, so you're not supporting the company anyway. But it's like, for a lot of older things, I think it's a great way for people to experience older games that can't track down, like, old hardware or old discs and things.
Oh yeah, because they're available, but it's not.
And it's also expensive, and it's like,
Yeah.
how old is it? How gently used is it? If you're not, like, paying for a primo, like, collector's item, then it's just some random thing that kind of came out of somebody's basement. Like,
Also
you don't know.
Space. If you don't have a lot of space, you don't have enough room.
Yeah,
For 10 consoles.
but it's like you can have, like, a halfway fucking decent computer from, like, 2006 or onward.
and emulate fucking.
And just emulate, like, anything up to, like, even PS2.
Yeah.
And probably, like, Xbox. You might not be able to run everything perfectly, but most things you'll be able to. And you'll have literally 20 years of gaming that you can go through.
It's good shit. What else? I have to dig deep into my memory.
Well, while you think for a minute, I'm going to prattle on about Final Fantasy VII.
It
So
won't be the last time.
Probably will never be the last time. And like, hey man, I'm still a believer that the remake is a pretty fucking good game so far. Like, they can still fuck it up. But here's the thing, if you don't like the remake, you can still go play the original. So stop fucking whining, because I like both.
Also, I'm pretty sure at this point the remake is an entirely different game.
No, it's the sequel. It's the sequel to the original.
It's a sequel. It's a different timeline though.
But yes, you can just pretend that it's not attached. Like, it's okay.
I mean, it is attached, but it's like,
but you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
if you want to pretend it's not attached, it
You
won't
can't.
fuck up the original.
seriously, you can enjoy it independently.
Also, the books are really good. I really like the books. I really like how they extend the lore and stuff. I really like that they started putting characters from some of them books in the new remake. I like Leslie a lot, and I like that when I read the book, it was after I played remake, so I didn't realize Leslie was a character that already existed, and I really like Leslie. And I really like that young Rufus boy. Not Rufus boy. Shinra's boy. Like, the one that's like another illegitimate child that you didn't know about.
That young Rufus boy.
And I love, you know who I love the most? I love Barrett. Because he's precious marshmallow man. And I want to give him smooches. He's the best daddy in the whole world. And I wish he was my best friend. Barrett is the best character. Like, fucking fight me. Oh, why is it not horrible?
Because I know what I'm doing.
No, that's not it. It's just,
I'm a mixologist.
you watched too much How to Drink. Me too.
How to Drink would be disappointed in this.
Yeah, no, he'd probably be like, you know what, Gentleman Jack, orange, fucking Coca-Cola.
Mixing
You can do worse things.
whiskey and Coke is gonna be like, that's weak.
Flashcards. So, you know what I really want? I really want to get all the parts for my N64 again, because I was a trash goblin as a child with an artistic soul, and took a big black, like, those big black fucking Sharpie markers that go on, like, shiny metallic bronze color on certain plastics, and completely colored my N64. So that later when I sold all of my controllers and all my parts and everything, the used game store would not take the console because of the horrible trash goblin things that I did to it. Even though the console worked perfectly fine, it was just a little bronzed.
Just a little ugly.
It was beautiful, and it's still up there. But I need the parts for it, and I would love to get an EverDrive. And the EverDrives, it's just an emulation like flashcard type of thing that the system will read as a game cartridge, so you don't need to like hack or modify anything in your consoles.
Why are you calling it?
And you can put an SD card in it and fill it with ROMs, and it's not emulated. The console acts as if this is an actual cartridge. And I think there's certain ROMs, like certain games, that aren't fully functional, but 90% of the libraries of these things are on there. So, like, you could just get a really big flash cart, put it in this thing, and you essentially have your entire 64, like, library right there in the console at all times.
Yeah.
And it's also a great way to use as, like, backups, like, in general. Like, it isn't trying to promote illegal shit, even though I don't fucking care about this thing specifically, because it's stupid. But you just pull the ROMs over, and there's certain settings you can do on it, and then you can, like, do fucking all the games.
How do you feel about the new releases where it's like the PS1 thing, where it's just like little PS1, but it's got all the games, like all the OG games, like downloaded
I think
to
it's
it
cool,
already?
and I think it's a minor, like, Band-Aid that was used to make some money,
For sure.
but could actually be a long-running way for them to get fucking, like, money.
From
like
the
from
old games?
people,
Yeah.
like why can't I just access PS1 games on my PS4 or PS5? Like I should be able to do that. Like
Right?
it shouldn't be selective. If it ran on PS3, could you not use that same emulator on the PS5 and just
Right,
like
just a
pull it
digital
over
download?
as like a program, or make a new one that's like better, or like reach out to fans who have made a better fucking thing than you and be like, can we use your code?
That would be nice.
But I really want an N64 one, but what I really want right now, because it functions with the Game Boy player on the GameCube, which Anna owns, is an EverDrive for Game Boy Advance.
Oh shit.
And I also would love to get one that was color, and I think the color one you can put Game Boy games on as well, so you could just double dip. Or there might be two of them. But I want the EverDrive. I think it's like $109 for the one I want with the casing and everything. And I have like a 32 gigabyte fucking flash card already, so I don't need any. And I have a bunch of 8 gig ones. But I want to just fill it up with like every Game Boy Advance game, like fucking ever. And I got them from Stone Age Gamer. Well, that's where I was looking at them. But I want one with like all the Game Boy Advance games, so I can just like play it all on this old CRT that my fiance has up in the closet, and like just have like basically authentic big Game Boy Advance like playing machine. And it's like, yeah, I can just emulate, but like there's still like this feeling of like I like to play on actual hardware, and I'd also love to use these EverDrives that like maybe it's not the literal the game, but it's like you're getting as close as you can without having to go out and buy like 300 different Game Boy games. You might not even want to like play all of them fully. You just want to be like, hey, I want to look at all the different shit that they made for this, because that's cool.
Yeah. Okay. So what's next?
So I think off the top of my head, my favorite old games, let's say from like, I guess like end of the early 2000s, I would say the biggest experiences I had that I remember that were very impactful on me, that were not Blizzard games, because I played like all of the Blizzard games. I'd say like Heretic 3, I think is what it was called, or Heretic 2, I can't remember. I think it was Heretic 3. Ocarina of Time, Final Fantasy 7, Dragon Valor and Legend of Dragoon, like both super incredible. Like Mario 64.
Mario 64 is the one that like whenever I think of old.
All the Spyro games.
Oh yeah.
All
dude,
the Spyro games.
Yeah.
And the aesthetic of those games, and I like that I'm doing the Redux list now.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, when I go back and replay them, I won't play the HD versions again. I'll play the original versions, and I'll probably use my PS TV, so I can just play them on here, off
Fucking
my, like, Vita.
Jak and Daxter.
Oh, Jak and Daxter. That's still a little bit too far. That's PS2 era. But like, and I didn't even play Jak and Daxter until PS3 era. But no, we don't talk about that yet. We don't talk about that yet. We'll do that in like the more modern area. Oh, Fallout, dude. I didn't actually play the original Fallout 1 and 2 until like the last year or so. And I played it on new hardware, nicer shit. So like it fucking conveyed better. Looked absolutely gorgeous on my piece of shit laptop, which it should, because the game came out in the early 90s and probably took like 50 megabytes of RAM or something to play properly. But I digress. It was gorgeous, and I loved it, and it was amazing. But when I was a kid, I tried to play the first one and the second one, and I had no idea what the fuck to do, and I died a lot and was real grumpy, but I was still really interested because the music and the ambiance and the fucking like graphics and the way everything looked, I was like, oh, this is so cool.
What
and I
are-
like the ambient type of music that Fallout 1 and 2 used.
What are games that really like set the bar for that style of game? You know what I mean? Like the OGs.
In that area.
Yeah, because you have like Silent Hill and Parasite Eve.
Oh,
They
yeah.
kinda
And
really-
Parasite Eve, like, it... Because it was actually, like, based on a book, I think is
Mhm.
why they fucked it up and didn't get to, like, continue it.
Yeah.
And then we got that subpar PSP game, still too far, just saying that it sucks, and it doesn't exist, and it shouldn't be attached. But Parasite Eve was like, they started out like, oh, we're gonna make a Resident Evil, basically. Like,
That's what it kind of felt like, yeah.
but then they were like, oh, but actually, we want to do our own thing, and this is cool, and everybody was like, this is kind of cool.
It is kind of cool. I remember playing it super, like, I was enthralled because I loved the whole, like, oh, that's just normal rat. Oh, no, it's fucking
We'll have to do a
monster.
little powwow where we come over and, like, we'll play it on my little Vita on the TV. It'll be great.
And then Silent Hill really set the tone for me. I love the Silent Hill.
Dude, and there was something, and like I loved this, that there was just this aesthetic between fucking PS1 and N64 that certain games, like, it was like an aesthetic that
Mhm.
defined it.
Do you remember Fatal Frame? Was that PS1? That was PS1, right?
No, I think Fatal Frame didn't come till PS2.
It was PS2.
Yeah, we'll get there.
But I like the horror genre. Maybe we can do like a whole thing on horror
Oh
genre.
no, yeah, dude, we can do a whole thing on all kinds of things. Like, I've even thought about, like, we might do like commentary tracks, like sit here and talk about certain stuff and like play Smash Brothers in the background,
Mm-hmm.
and like have the sound on, and it's just like it's the aesthetic thing. And like here we're having a little powwow at the end of this one. I might have said some of the shit before, but like, hey, let's coast and tell you what kind of show this is gonna be. Like, you might have commentary with video games. We're gonna talk about random social events, or like video games, or food, or fucking drugs, or like state laws that are stupid, or like whatever, man. Like, we're gonna do whatever we want, because this is essentially what Whole is.
Basically, we'll just go down a hole.
Yeah. Aren't we smart? But there's also going to be things like, I would love to have a thing where we just eat a bunch of different hot, spicy foods and like grade them, and like have some full grade cream in a bottle next to us that we can do to get rid of the fucking heat. And
then,
like,
and then we'll pause halfway, and then we'll wait, and then we'll record the aftermath. After
yeah,
everything's
well,
gone
we're just
through.
like, we'll talk about like spicy things while we settle down,
And
or
then,
some shit like that.
And then, halfway through or something, we kind of stop. We wait for everything to digest, and then we tell you how it came out.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. Okay, I don't think that's going to happen in the same day for me, but maybe.
It'll be a two-parter.
And then I guess here's our ultimate thing. Tiger Electronic Games.
Yeah, so we were talking about retro stuff, and so this came to mind. Those stupid little handheld games that you'd get in like fucking kids' meals and shit sometimes, or
Basically ripping off
I don't even know
Nintendo.
where the
little
fuck
Game &
where
Watches.
did we get them from? I know they were.
I
like,
think Nintendo started like Game & Watch, and I don't know if that was the original thing. It could have been just something that came out like around the same time. But it's
Well-
like where it has that little like silk screen
Yeah.
or whatever, and it's like
I
it
know
registers
I do.
where shit is on like a circuit board.
and I know I'd get them like all the time. I think they were mainly fucking Happy Meals.
Yeah,
Happy
and they
Meal
had
toys and
they
shit,
had
but-
bigger ones that were like little poker games.
Yeah, but they had like
and-
Sonic. They
Yeah.
had There's like a soccer game.
They still make them, I'm pretty sure.
I think they're coming back. I've seen things where there's like a resurgence in like the whole handheld pocket game thing.
Which is funny. Of course, it happened after. I think Tiger Electronics actually went bankrupt.
Fucking probably.
I mean, they might be back now, but like I'm pretty sure they went bankrupt
They were
because
not
nobody
great.
wanted this shit.
But here's the thing: the main thing.
It was like enough money to float above water.
They had this thing called the Gamecom, and the Gamecom was their answer to the Game Boy, and they were actually pretty ahead of their time with it because not only did they have a backlight, they also had internet connectivity, but they also tried to go the Pocket PC route where you had a calendar, you had an alarm clock, you had a notepad, I think. Like, they were trying really hard to be competitive.
This is one of those things that, like, in hindsight, looking back, is like, that would have been really cool, but then it was too expensive, and everybody was like, what's that?
Their games sucked, and they
Was
ran
Doom on
real bad.
I can't remember if LGR's covered this one or not.
Oh, man.
Oh. But I had like,
Oh,
and
yeah,
I believe both of these were Tiger Electronics.
Duke Nukem was on it.
Oh shit!
Fucking Lights
Resident
Out
Evil 2.
Mortal Kombat was on it. Let's see.
Oh my god!
They only had a small list. A fucking Jurassic Park game.
But I had a Pokedex, which I believe was a Tiger Electronic.
Yeah.
And it was the original 151. And you could like punch through, and it would talk to you, and you could look at the different Pokedex entries, and it was so fucking cool, so cool. And then I had this one that I think it was called Jurassic Park Evolution or something, and you could splice DNA of different dinosaurs, and it was basically like a Tamagotchi, but you could use it to also fight other monsters. So I guess it would have been like closer to like the way the little Digimon ones were, because that's the thing. There was also a Tamagotchi and the Digimon ones, and the Tamagotchi. I don't remember if Tamagotchi spawned Digimon or the other way around. But, like, those were also, like, those little things. But they weren't exactly the same because they weren't, like, the silk screen thing. It was, like, an actual little, like, analog screen.
I forgot about this. The Gamecom was also the first touchscreen handheld game system. It came with a stylus and everything. It was a pressure touchscreen.
They were ahead of their time.
Yeah.
And they failed miserably. And that was another gift for my fiance for Quimbus.
And Nintendo, the reason that they actually went out was because Nintendo was just too powerful. They owned the market at the time.
Yeah.
And they couldn't get above water.
And it was also one of those things, I think, like, this is still, like, further after, way after, like, the game crash. But it was like Nintendo, when they first, like, swooped in right after the game crash, they were like, hey, this is a toy for children, not a game console. Don't worry about it, play it like it. But remember, toy, not the video game.
Isn't Nintendo, haven't they been, like, operating in the red for, like,
No.
years?
No.
No.
It's
they
that if they operated in the red for years, they would
could.
still stay afloat.
Like, for 8 years, they could be in the red for 8 years and be fine.
And it'll never happen, even though they still have really weird business practices.
Oh, man.
Oh, man.
What are you doing? You picking at your tongue?
I don't know, man. I wrote on here the guy with the face at the bottom, and I don't know what that's supposed to mean. I think that's a separate note that had nothing to do with this.
The guy with the face.
The guy with the face.
You know about that.
That's what they call him. The
Oh.
guy with the face.
Oh, another one. Fucking 007 GoldenEye.
Perfect
shit.
Dark, man. I
It
like
is-
Perfect Dark more.
No, but I had a Game Shark fucking cheat cartridge for GoldenEye, and that was my favorite shit.
The game has
Just-
built-in cheats. Why you need a Game Shark?
No, but like you had like the fucking paintballs and the balloon heads and the and just all this goofy shit.
I'm guessing it let you like use debug shit that was
Yeah.
like still in the game, but not. That was dope. I didn't play as much of GoldenEye, but I played a lot of fucking Perfect Dark, which was like their answer for it after they didn't have the rights to 007 anymore.
Mm-hmm. What else was there? Was Grand Theft Auto PS1?
The original, yeah,
The original one
the
was,
top-down one.
Yeah, that was rough. That was.
It was really cool and interesting, but like, yeah, not my cup of tea. I
No.
might go back to it, emulate it, and I might enjoy it more. But
Yeah.
at the time, it was like I didn't know what to do with that. It was too much. My child brain's stupid.
Man.
We old as heck.
We are.
I
'Cause there's
got
gonna be
hair
things-
on my balls. On the bottom of them.
On the bottom. That's
Yeah,
how you know.
that's the old person thing. Hair on the bottom of your balls. It's like when the green fuzzy stuff starts growing under the chicken.
You got gooch hair. I like the sound spike when you clear your throat.
Yeah.
We need to do more. I liked when we did the recording while we played games though. That was fun.
No, yeah, you know what? I'm still down to like upload some YouTube shit that has to do with that.
Shit, I don't even care if we have video. The
No,
audio.
no.
The
Yeah,
audio
yeah,
alone
because
could be
audio
fucking
can be really
hilarious.
great. The
Yeah.
audio can be really great, and like I said, it's like a commentary. We can also, talk about the game. It's a different format.